I opened the door and saw her boss on top of my wife.
Hello, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. My name is Peter, and this is the Freshmaster channel.
I stand there for a second and yell out surprise. D-Day was 10 days ago, 1/29. I won't forget that day now either, the cause of the day after, our anniversary. Since then I have been reading a lot of posts on this sub. It has been helpful to know I'm not the only one. Now I thinking posting what happened will help me out. It's going to be long cause I think details matter and I've been playing it over and over in my head every day. Our story. Been with my wife for 29 years, married 26. I'm 51M, her 49F, 2 grown kids 24S, 22D. Meet in college, dated, fell in love, married, and thought what I believed was a great marriage. Did a lot of things together, talked all the time, communicated about things that were troublesome. Both of us had successful careers that we both supported each other in along the way. Great love life. Maybe not as often as when we were younger but just as passionate. She's in IT and I own a small landscaping company that employs 75 people that I started after graduation. She's been working from home a lot since COVID and we have been talking about my easing out of the day-to-day operations and her going part-time so we can spend more time together and travel etc. now that the kids are established. Looking back, there were no red flags that I've read so much about. No weird texting, no guarding her phone, no clothing changes, no unusual behavior, no nights out with people from work. When she did go out it was friends and family and I always heard from someone the next day how I should have come. But I wanted her to go out without me and I enjoy being by myself doing stuff in my shop. She always was home early. To say I was blindsided is an understatement. D-Day. The week before I had booked a weekend at a romantic bed and breakfast owned by some friends. Our state is open. The Winter Festival was that weekend. I leave work early to surprise her and tell her to pack a bag, we're going away for our anniversary. I pull my truck in the driveway and find a strange car there. Right away, I just knew. Don't know why, but I did. I'm hoping and praying I'm wrong but my gut is telling I'm not. I sit there a while wondering what to do. Leave and talk to her later. Leave and pretend I didn't see it. Not sure what to do. I'm shaking so bad I can't see straight. When I have something at work I have to do that might be uncomfortable I always tell myself, man up, get this over with. Suddenly, shaking stops and feel very calm. No idea how, cause inside I'm a wreck. I sneak in the back door and my black lab is laying there with a sad face, like he knows, instead of jumping on me. Man, I love that dog. He stays as I quietly go up the stairs. When I get upstairs I can hear what is going on in our bedroom. I get to the door and open it and see her boss on top of my wife. I stand there for a second and yell out surprise. The crap show that followed would be laughable if it didn't hurt so much. He rolls off trying to get out of bed but he gets tangled up in the sheets. My wife is screaming OMG, 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 OMG and trying to cover up but can't cause he's still tangled up. He finally gets out and starts looking for his clothes, only they're on the other side of the bed. This just hit me, in about the same spot where mine used to end up. Don't know why, but I beat him to them and grabbed them. My wife is crying, I'm so sorry, over and over. I back up to the door and stand there and he's standing next to the bed naked. I grab the big easy chair out of the corner and pull it to the door and sit down. He asks for his clothes and I say no and toss him my wife's robe from the back of the door. He starts to walk towards me. Now, even though I'm 51, I'm in good shape. 6 feet 3 inches, 240. Years of going to the gym and working in landscaping have seen to that. I look at him and say, if you get any closer it's not going to end well for either of us. You'll be in the hospital and I'll be in jail, so why don't you just sit down? Wife is now sobbing into the pillow and he sits down. After an uncomfortable silence, he asks, what now? My reply is I have no idea. Wife is still crying a little but sits up. Finally, I pull out my phone and tell them that they are going to tell me everything while I record it all. They look at each and my wife asks what do I mean everything? I say everything, how it started, how long this been going on, when, where, hotels, dinners, etc., everything. My wife says this is the only time to which I yell BS. There is no way you'd be comfortable enough to bring him to our bed if this hadn't been going on for some time. If you lie to me again I'm walking out that door and finding a divorce lawyer. She starts crying again. So for the next 10 to 15 minutes it all comes out, been going on for over 9 months. Started with him flirting with her etc. till he asked her to lunch and she went. A few drinks later they were at a hotel. She came home to me that night like nothing happened. She swears that it was killing her and she wanted to tell me but didn't know how. Again I call BS, if it was killing you, it would not have been so easy to keep it going. They even went to a week-long convention for work that I used to go with her to. She told me company policy changed and spouses couldn't go anymore. I put my phone away and more silence. Then an idea hits me. I look through his clothes for his phone and ask him for passcode. He actually gives it to me, so I start going through his phone. I find some pictures of a woman I assume is his wife and ask her name. Carol. She's very pretty, but not as pretty as my Ashley, I tell him. More picture of kids, find out he has 3 and finally a family picture of all of them. I hold up the phone and say, a beautiful family. Why did you throw it all away for a tumble with my wife? His reply, what do you mean throw it all away? Me, you really think Carol isn't going to find out? Him, how is she going to find out? Me, I'm going to call her right now. He stand up and says, no, you can't. My wife screams out, please you can't do this to him. I lost it. Can't do this to him. You've destroyed me, our family, our friends, our future and broken my heart and you're worried about him. I'm shaking again, trying not to let her see cry, but I can't hold together anymore. I fall back in the chair and start sobbing. She tries to come over to me but I look at her say, stay the hell away from me. After a while I calm down and look at his phone again. He again says, please don't, I'm begging you. I swear I'll tell her. Yeah right, I reply. He's standing there pleading with me not to as I find her number and decide FaceTime would be even better. She answers in high sweet. Looks surprised and says, who are you, is my husband okay? He is for now but won't be in a minute. I flip the screen to show him standing there in my wife's robe. I say, I believe you know him. The room he's standing in is my bedroom. The flowered robe he's wearing belongs to this woman. Swing in the phone to catch my wife trying to pull the sheets over her head but too late. That's my wife and I came home early today to find them having sex. I truly feel sorry for her and lousy for how I did it. She starts crying and he tries the, honey I'm so sorry. I can explain, it is just one time etc. routine. I tell her not to believe a word it's been going on for over 9 months and that I spent the last 15 minutes recording all the details they were willing to share. I tell her I'm going to text her my number and she should send me her email and I'll send her the video. I give him the phone and I hear her tell him when he gets home there will be a bag packed outside and if he tries to come in the house she'll call the police and hangs up. I toss him his clothes and he leaves after he's dressed. Now, it's just me and my wife. She looks at me and starts to cry saying she is so sorry. Never meant to hurt me, can I forgive her, it didn't mean anything. All the usual cheaters BS. I look at her, tell her to pack a bag and get the hell out my house. I go downstairs and pour a drink. I'm sitting on the couch when she comes downstairs. She starts towards me and I say just stop. She asks if we talk about this and I tell her maybe, just maybe, but not now. I tell her it's going to be really hard to not look for a divorce lawyer and she starts crying again. She looks at me and I know an I love you is coming. I say, don't you dare say that right now cause I don't think I will ever believe it anymore. More crying she turns and walks out the door. Seeing her crying walking out the door, my entire life leaving, I break down and fall on the floor shaking sobbing uncontrollably. No idea how long but I finally sit down, still crying, and call my best friend. I try to speak but start crying again and can't get the words out. He asks what's wrong but I can't talk. He asks if I'm at home and I kinda grunt yay and says he'll be right there. 30 minutes later he's in my house, I'm still crying. I give him my phone with the video up and he proceeds to watch. I can't bear to hear it and get us both a drink. He comes in the kitchen and takes me drink away and dumps them both saying, this isn't going to help you. Tells me I can't stay here tonight alone and go upstairs and pack a bag. I come downstairs and he has my lab on a leash and we go to his house. That was 10 days ago and I still feel like absolute crap. Update. First, let me say thanks for the tremendous outpouring of support. I am blown away by the number of people who have commented or messaged me offering support. You have idea what that means to me and how much it helps. I've tried me best to answer everyone but probably missed a few. But I have read every signal one. Not really an update but just a continuation of the story of D-Day and the days following. To those of you that commented on how great my friend is, his name is Dan, and I could not agree more. Not sure what I would done without him. Since we've known each other so long, it only follows that our families would be close. Our kids are friends, used to go camping together as families when they were young, and his wife, Terry, and mine become close friends over the years. Important to know for what follows. As we're driving to his home, I'm quiet and Dan is getting angry. When we get to his place, he gets inside and asks Terry, "Did you know?" Her reply is, "No what?" He raises his voice and asks again, "Did you know?" I grab him and tell him to calm down, this not her fault. He realizes he's way off and gives Terry a hug and says he's sorry. Terry is now totally confused. I give him my phone and say show her. I take my dog outside, don't want to hear it again. When it's done, Terry runs outside crying and gives me a huge hug, felt like forever before she stops. She takes my hand and we go inside. The three of spend the next hour or so talking, crying, talking. All this time my phone is blowing up. You guessed it, my wife. I ignore calls and delete texts without reading. Finally my son calls. He wants to know what is going on. Mom is at his and his wife's apartment saying I threw her out of the house. Me. Did she tell you why, son? No. Me. Give her the phone. You need to them why, or I'm sending him the video, and I hang up. 10 minutes later son calls back crying. All he could manage was a WTF, WTF. I go from BS to protective dad, telling him it's going to be okay and this is not his fault. He calms down and asks if I'm okay and tell him of course not and start crying again. He finally tells me that mom will stay the night and hangs up. Almost immediately my phone rings again and it's my daughter. I forgot I asked her dog sit while we going to be gone for the weekend. She wants to know where Cooper, my lab, is. I tell her something happened and we're not going, but she can stay at the house, neither of us coming home tonight. Daughter, what do you mean, neither of you? Where are you? Me, I'm at Dan and Terry's and your mom is at your brother's. Her, Dad, tell me what's going on. Me, I can't right now, I'll be by the house tomorrow and we'll talk then. She keeps insisting I tell and I keep saying no. She finally gives up and hangs up. Greater than I know where the next call is going, so I text my son and tell him expect a call. Next I call my wife and ask if she wants to tell our daughter or should I. Her only response is to start crying again. I hang up. 30 minutes later there's a knock on the door. Dan answers and let my daughter in. She sees me and tell I've been crying and runs to me, hugs me, and we start crying although she doesn't know why. After she calms down and we both stop crying, I call my wife back and tell our daughter is with me and I ask again if she wants to tell her or should I phone a speaker. So my daughter asks, "Mom, tell me what?" Again only crying on the other end. So I say I guess I will and hang up. Without giving details I explain that I found out today that her mom has been cheating on me and has been having an affair for 9 months. Just when I thought I couldn't feel any worse, the hurt on my baby girl's face brought me to my knees. She's shaking and can't even cry. I'm on the floor sobbing and can't move. I feel like I let her down. When she needed me the most I couldn't even ducking move. Terry comes over crying and hugs her, telling her it will be okay. Dan is bawling too. Like I said, close families. She finally lets out this painful wail that I will never forget if I live to 100. I finally get up and go hug them both. We finally all go sit down. No knows what to say. I ask my daughter if she going to be okay. She looks at me and says, "Dad, don't worry about me, are you going to be okay?" I manage to "Yeah, I'll manage." She asks if she can take Cooper with her to the house and if her fiancé Tim can come stay there. Of course. I'm thankful she won't be alone. After she leaves, Terry just goes off saying I can't believe she did this, calling her every name in the book. She calms down and grabs her phone saying she going to call her, looking at me expecting me say no. I tell her go ahead but put it speaker. So she call, exchanging pleasantries etc. Finally she tells her that Mike, that's me, called Dan crying after she left the house and that I'm staying there. She, Terry, knows everything. Again more crying. Terry, just unloads. Scream at her, "What were you thinking? How could you? Why didn't you come talk to me before you started down this road? If something was missing, why didn't you talk to Mike? You know how understanding he is. You have any idea how many people you've hurt? Darlene, daughter just left here." I can't begin to explain the look on her face when Mike told her. "Dan and I will never be able to look at you the same again. How could you be so ducking selfish?" Just more crying on the other end, saying over and over how sorry she is. Terry doesn't hang up and Elle listened to her cry. After a minute or so I ask Terry for the phone. "Ashley," no response. I ask again, "Ashley." She final says, "Yay babe." I say, "You can't call me that ever again." More crying. Me, I just want to know what you are really sorry for. If I hadn't come home early, would you have realized how wrong this was, or would you have ducked your boss when we got back from the trip?" More crying. "You really not sorry for all the people you've hurt, including your boss's family, you're just sorry you got caught." I hang up. Dan, Terry and I talk for a bit more while phone blows up again. I finally try to sleep but can't. In the morning I ask Dan to take me home, give Terry a hug and tell how much her and Dan mean to me. I tell Dan I'm going to drive to my cabin and spend some time there. He agrees that's a good idea. As we are driving, I notice that while my phone was blowing up, there was one message from boss's wife saying, "Thanks for telling and giving me her email." I send the video and tell her if you need to vent she can call me, that it might do both of us good. I quietly pack, not wanting wake up Darlene and Tim. As I'm loading up the truck, I grab 2 of my .22 rifles. Dan asks me what I'm doing and tell him, I always do some shooting up there. "Not this time," he says, and takes them away. So Cooper jumps in and away I go. When I get there, about 2.5 hours, and after I open it up I start a fire in the fireplace. I take Cooper and we go for a walk in the woods. It helps, but not a lot. Son calls to check in on me and I tell him where I am. If his mother wants to stay at the house she can, but she needs to be gone when I came back. He says okay. After our walk, Cooper crashes in front of the fireplace and I go out to split some firewood. Great workout and very good therapy. Each swing of the axe I switch between seeing my wife's face and her boss's. Stay Saturday, Sunday and Monday. On Monday I start making phone calls. First my office, letting them know I won't in for a while, but be reached if something comes up. Next the attorney I use if something comes up with the company that I need legal help with. He recommends a divorce lawyer. I call her and set an appointment for Thursday. Then our bank freezing our joint accounts. Credit cards are next, canceling them all, having sent new cards out. While being alone in the woods gave some clarity as to my next moves. I find myself shaking again, wondering I really am going to go through with this or try to salvage our marriage. After I get home I find this sub and start reading other stories. It helps, but only a little. Midweek I go into the office and talk to my HR manager. She and I have a close professional friendship which is about to get more personal. I tell her everything and ask for advice on telling their company. She tells me to talk to my lawyer before I do anything. She asked if I am going to look into IC. She recommends someone and also says I should see my doctor for STD check. I call both and make appointments. Thursday I see my now lawyer. Show her the video. This time I can actually listen. She starts shaking her head and says, "Why do people do stupid crap like this?" Turns out she absolutely zero tolerance for cheaters. Her husband cheated on her and dragged her through hell. So much so that she changed her practice and became a divorce attorney. She assures me everything will be okay and I sign a contract with her. I ask about telling wives and bosses HR and says we should wait. Meanwhile I have gone NC with wife. She's back at our son's. At least she's smart enough to know I need space and wasn't at the house when I got home. I'm sleeping on the couch cause I can't bring myself to go into our bedroom. When I have to for clothes etc. I grab as much as I can so I don't have go in there more than I have to. Thanks for reading this far. It took forever to type this out. Stuff about my daughter had me tears for a few hours. We'll update next week. Update. Again, let me say how much I appreciate all the advice and support I've received from this community. I owe each and every one of you a debt of gratitude I will never be able to repay. I can only say thank you and try to reply to all the comments. The support, encouragement has been very helpful. Many of you have said the way I handled the confrontation so well shows strength, but right now I feel anything but. Just really going through the motions. All the advice has been outstanding and is helping me move forward. Second, the reason for this post and my original was because I was reaching out for help. Believe me, there was plenty given. The reason my first post was removed, I was told, was it because it has too much storytelling and not asking for support. I will try to keep this short, but I believe details matter. If you didn't see the original post, I've been told it has made its way to YouTube. Use title for search, I guess. So I am beginning to realize that there is no way to come back from this and am 99% sure of what my decision will be. Just can't get the thought out of my head that I'll be throwing away 29 years of our lives. Even now I can't bring myself to type STBXW and still refer as my wife. WTF is wrong with me? Help. The night of D-Day she went to our son's and his wife's place. He called wondering what was wrong and why I threw Mom out. Told her she needed to tell him or I would. He knows. I went to best friend's house. Daughter was supposed to dog sit and comes home to find no dog. Eventually she shows up at BF's place and wants to know what's wrong. I tell her. The hurt on her face was worse than seeing wife in bed with boss and killed me. She leaves with dog to house and gets fiancé to come over. Saturday morning I tell BF I am going to spend a few days at cabin, can he take me home? He agrees, good idea, and I pack up, grab dog and go. Spend time there walking in the woods with dog and splitting firewood. Good workout and therapy. Stay sat, son, drive home mon. On Monday I started the phone calls. Bank, credit cards, lawyer I use if I need for company. He recommends someone, I call and see her on Thursday. Play her the recording. She's extremely confident and I hire her. Ask about letting wife, boss HR department. No, and she thinks we should hold off. I'm home sleeping on couch, can't bring myself to go in bedroom except for clothes. Friday son calls to tell me mom can't stay there anymore, making it hard on him and his wife. Is there any way wife can come home? I haven't spoken to wife since D-Day. I give in and say okay. She comes back on Sat. I go back to cabin. Cold as hell, but I manage. Monday I go straight to office. People there love my dog and he gets spoiled. Finally go home Monday night. When I see my wife the only thing I see is what I saw when I opened the bedroom door on D-Day. Don't think I'll ever get past that. Any ideas? Nothing is said. I change and go to my office in basement and try to stay busy. Finally watch TV in basement. She comes downstairs and asks if we can about this. I tell not yet, I'm not ready and please leave me alone while she's here. I fall asleep in recliner. Get up early and head to gym. Shower there and go to work. Go home late. That is my routine rest of the week. Friday my HR manager asks how I'm doing. I told her what had happened earlier and saw therapist she suggested yesterday. She tells me I need to stop sleeping in chairs and on couch. Buy a new bed she tells me. Great idea. I take $$ out what's left in joint ACCT, wife's half, and go get new bed. Delivery is sat. I go to office and wait for call telling me they will be there in 30 minutes. I stop and pick up a couple of subs for delivery guys and wait down the block. They pull up and I meet them, tell them lunch is on me and give them each $25 to do me a favor. I ask them to not load up old mattress and can they come back later and pick it up. Lean it up against tree near street PLZ. They look confused and I tell them to give me 5 minutes and come in, they'll understand. Now I thought of burning old mattress in driveway but didn't want to clean that up. I go upstairs and remove bedding. While I'm doing this something comes back to me that I have to find out about. I take a can of Blaze orange spray paint that we use for marking properties we are working on and spray, wife cheated on me in our bed, in big letters. Guys come in and wife asks what's going on. I tell her I can't sleep in that bed anymore and that she bought me a new one. She acts mad but goes back downstairs. New bed set up, guys leave, old mattress where I asked. Some time passes and she tells me that they left old mattress in yard. They're coming back for it, I say, trying not to laugh. Still don't think she knows, but entire neighborhood does. Valentine's Day she tries to be romantic and initiate intimacy. I tell her I wouldn't F her now if she was the last woman on earth. She comes back with we don't F, we make love in an upset tone. I reply that we haven't made love since she started F-ing her boss. She looks shocked. Did she think I'd forget? I just am at a loss for understanding. What is going on in her mind? I decide now is as good a time as any to talk and tell her to sit down in living room. I ask her what she wants to do. Are we going to try and fix this or should we divorce and move on? Don't know why I even offered this? Guess I'm stuck on throwing away 29 years. Please talk me out of this. She says she is willing to do anything I ask to fix this and begs me to forgive her. I tell her she need to come clean to everyone in our family, starting with her parents and my mom. Dad's been gone for 3 years, including how I found out. Kids don't know this detail. They are coming over tonight. Update later how that goes. That's where I'm at now. Still numb from everything and really fighting urge to go kick her boss's butt. Still need advice. When will this get any better, or is this my new normal? Update. Emotions different or more prevalent? Question for other BSs out there. Do you find that you might be having more emotional reactions to things that have nothing to do with WS and what's going on? This morning at the gym I heard a song, Maggie's Song, by Chris Stapleton. If you haven't heard it, look it up. It's about the life of his dog. Near the end there's a line, I never knew a better dog. I guess I never will. My first black lab has been gone for a while, have had 2 since. The one I have now was a huge help D-Day and the days after. Of course, I have thought about the first one, but always in a happy way, thinking about stupid things he would do, or his first pheasant, or playing with the kids in the snow. I still call him the best dog in the history of dogs. Today was different. It was a sad feeling and a man I miss him. I've been emotional about other things too that I never would have been before. So, any other BS's having this happen to them,